All right, people, we are here for an exclusive interview with none other than Kingbura. We got one of the newest coaches in the BHDL and also one of the newest playoffs playoffs trainers. What's the word that we use for it? He made it to the playoffs, let's just say that, in the BHDL Season 5 after a very impressive run. How is it going, Kingbura?
Hello, Emerald. Hello, everyone. I am Kingbura, and I am very happy to be here. A little bit excited too. Thank you for having me, by the way.
Thank you for joining, for giving us the time out of your day, my friend, to be able to do this. I just want to get started with tell me how you got into Pokemon and then from there into competitive Pokemon. What's your story?
Okay. So first of all, I just want to say that I am 33 years old. So basically, I was there. I was a kid, but I was there when the Pokemon phenomenon started spreading all around the world. Uh, it was insane. I mean, I'm so happy that after almost 30 years old, it's still there. Pokemon is maybe even bigger than what it was back then, but the impact that it had in the late 90s was insane. Everyone, I mean, my parents, maybe even my grandparents were talking about Pokemon. So it was crazy. And I'm talking about watching anime, discussing about it with my classmates, collecting a lot of collectibles. I remember stickers, um, trading cards, lemming cards, bottle caps. Shout out to Raymond. I collected those too. And of course, plushies. And so I really was caught up with the Pokemon fever. In terms of the video game, though, actually I skipped Gen 1. I played a little bit of Gen 1, but not. I didn't own a Game Boy, so basically I was playing in one of my closest friends' Game Boy. Sometimes used to borrow it to me.
Yep, I've been there.
90% of the time I was just watching me play, but sometimes it would just let me play.
Right, makes sense.
Then I started actually playing a game with Gen 2, so Pokemon Silver with the Game Boy Color. And they gifted me when I was 9 this Game Boy. I was so happy to have it. I remember being so excited that Chikorita was my first starter, by the way. And I remember evolving it to Bayleaf even before reaching the first town. I was just destroying all wild Pokemon.
You were on the grind.
Yes, I was just happy to getting KOs on every single wild Pokemon in the route. I was so excited to see the difference between the anime and the game. Of course, in the game you cannot tell the Pokemon, "Hey, dodge," while Ash Ketchum was telling you to his Pokemon, "Hey, dodge this move." You can't do that in the game, but still, it was very cool. Gen 2, amazing time. I remember having some great battles with my friends with the cable link. I played every single Gen 2 game, Silver, Gold, and Crystal, so I was very, very much into it. But my favorite generation of all is Gen 3, Game Boy Advance and Pokemon Sapphire. I played that so much, and I remember the colors of that game. I remember the reflection on the water when you are surfing, or just the footprints in the sand, or the
Oh yeah.
soundtrack. Everything about Gen 3 is so much nostalgia to me. So I remember very well those days. And of course, Game Boy Advance was crazy. I used to play some Game Boy Color cartridge into the Game Boy Advance, and I actually trade my own mons between the Game Boys with the cable. So I was doing even stuff like this.
Oh, okay, there. So
And
did you ever like complete the decks at any point in those older games?
actually, no, I didn't.
Ah, man.
I didn't, but wasn't really into completing the decks. I mean, I was just trying to beat the Elite Four times and times again and get my Pokemon to level 100, because at that time, in my head, a level 100 Pokemon was the absolute peak that the Pokemon could reach.
Yeah.
Of course, I didn't know anything about competitive EVs, IVs, so if a Pokemon is level 100, he's that strong. Also, a crazy thing about Gen 3 was the secret bases.
Oh,
I
yep. I remember
remember,
people loving that.
yeah, I remember just without using the cable, you could get your Game Boy Advance near the other. I don't know how you call it in English, infrared, something like that.
Yep.
The technology that without even touch, you can transfer some information. And actually, I could find in my game my friend and his secret base. So I actually visit every day every secret bases of my friends, and I was fighting them. You could fight them, so you have those fights with your friends, even if they are not there, and it was very funny. But now we are in like 2004, something like that. I am 12-year old, and I'm starting to getting into the age where you can't play Pokemon. I mean, you can play Pokemon, but you have to hide because
Oh, yep.
if you're a
You're
kid, no
getting into
problem.
middle
You're a kid.
school, high school, yeah.
Yeah. If you're a kid, no problem. You can play Pokemon. If you're an adult and you really don't care about what other things, or you're mature enough to not caring, no problem. You can play Pokemon. But if you're a teenager, when you have your first crashes, when people try to play as an adult, even if they are not, you can't play Pokemon, and it's crazy because if you play Call of Duty, if you play FIFA, no problem. If you play NBA 2K, no problem. But if they if they watch you play Pokemon, man, it's gonna be hard for you. So basically, I left. I left the brand. I skipped the entire DS era.
The entire, just the DS era, so Gen 4, Gen 5, did you get back into it in the 3DS?
Not in the 3DS. Eventually with some emulators later then, but
Okay.
I skipped the entire DS, and I actually got back into the brand in 2015. So basically 10 plus years later. I remember that I was finally getting my degree in economy, and I was telling myself, "Damn, I need to give myself a present for this. I need to give myself a gift," and I didn't know what to give myself. But then I meet the cousin of my girlfriend, and he was and still is a great Pokemon fan. So I was watching him playing with his 3DS. I believe he had Alpha Sapphire,
Yep.
and I
I was
was
about to
like,
say
"Damn."
those Gen 3 remakes were calling your name.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, this look fire. I mean, so I finally got back into Gen 6. First, I bought Pokemon X, and then eventually I caught up with the Gen 3 remix. I bought Omega Ruby, and then from then on, I never left. I literally played every single game, 3DS era, Switch era. Actually, I skipped one game. Uh, we will go back to that, but you can imagine which game I skipped. I don't know.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about it in a second. I just want to real quick because you got in right around the Gen 6 era. That was the era where I felt like it was a lot of either old fans like you that had maybe skipped a couple, but that was their re-entry point. They kind of drew them back in, or people like me that had never played that was my entry point. So what was your reaction to the Mega Pokemon? Because if you didn't see it till 2015, the Megas have been out for 2 years. So had you seen or heard about them? You just never played it, or was that like your first time reacting to them?
Yeah, I saw something about it. I liked them. I really liked them a lot, especially the Kanto starters. On Mewtwo, I had some strange feelings about the Mewtwo Megas. I mean, I like them, but I believe that Mewtwo is perfect just as it is. So
Yeah,
I
that's fair. Yeah.
I wouldn't
No,
give
I get that.
him a
Yeah.
Mega, but still I liked it. I remember buying Pokemon X because of Charizard X. Actually, between Xerneas and Yveltal, maybe I prefer Yveltal a little bit more, but Charizard X was calling, so yeah, I
Yep.
went there
Understandable.
because of Charizard X. Yeah, I like the Mega evolutions a lot. I think that to this day is probably the best gimmick that
Yep, I
Pokemon has ever
agree. Yeah.
created, because it's very good both in terms of competitive and in terms of aesthetically speaking. Probably the problem of the Mega is that it's not a democratic gimmick, you know. So not
Yeah,
every Pokemon
it's
gets,
limited.
and that is why maybe it's not the best in this term, but competitively it was very good.
Yeah, it's
And
really quality over
and
quantity.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Uh, so those Gen 6 days is where I finally started learning that there was something more about the Pokemon. There was some sides of it that I never knew about, and I was talking, of course, about the competitive side.
Yep. EVs and
Uh,
IVs.
yeah. So I started watching my first YouTube videos about that. Pimp Night was the first,
Yep,
then
classic.
PokeMMD,
There we
uh,
go.
and from them on, a lot of other YouTubers. And then I started, uh, wow, I need to make my competitive team. But actually, in Gen 6, I didn't know how to do it. Mm, I knew how to get the EVs, but not how to get the IVs. So I actually was starting watching tutorials and something like that. But it was very hard. It was tough to learn that the legendary that I caught, of course, I caught them without thinking about it, but now they have the wrong nature, so now I'm screwed.
Yep,
There's nothing that I could do
exactly.
about it.
Nothing you can
That
do.
was very hard to learn.
Yep.
And eventually in Gen 7, I immediately started the game with a whole another mindset. Um, every time I go in front of a legendary, I save the game,
Save the
I
game.
pick up one of my Rals with
Yes,
Synchronize.
synchronize. Beautiful.
I go into internet. So Tapu Koko, which is the best nature for Tapu Koko? Oh, timid. Okay, no problem. There we go with his RAL trims, because of course back in the day you couldn't change the nature, so you had to stick it with it. And so in Gen 7, I started actually made my first competitive teams, and I used it in game 2. While in Gen 6, sometimes I was just trying Showdown, but never actually played some competitive battles in the game. So that's when I started, learning and actually playing competitive a little bit.
Oh, yep, that's fair.
Uh,
Had you, do you remember getting the bottle caps? Because at least in Gen 7, they did make it a little easier for us to be able to hyper train our legendaries. Did you remember getting into that?
yeah. I remember having I don't know how it's called. Maybe the Poke Plaza or something like that.
Pokepelago, yeah. Oh, yeah, the Poke Plaza, we could also get bottle caps too, yeah.
Pokepelago and Poke Plaza.
Yep.
Yeah, Pokepelago. Of course, I was there with those beans. I was
Yes!
then,
Me too.
but I was using Poke Plaza too. I remember having those stands with the. When, there was some stands when you can, like a lottery, you like pick a ticket
Yes.
and you can have, if you're lucky enough, you can have a bottle cap, maybe even a master ball if you're super lucky. And every day I was trying, some lotteries, also Pokepelago.
Yep, same here.
Grinding to level 100 wasn't that easy, but it was rewarding because, yeah, you can make your shiny 31 IVs, or maybe, even your legendary 31 IVs. So I was doing that. And it was very cool.
Okay, good to hear that I
Good day.
wasn't alone because I was definitely doing that same grind.
Yeah.
All right,
Actually,
so, oh, yep.
I just want to say that I never genned any Pokemon, so actually I was, doing all the grinds to to getting them legit, but it wasn't easy at all, of course.
Yeah, because people talk about like some of these games not having like a post game, but for me, at least the post game is like breeding all the Pokemon and training up and like building up boxes full of competitive Pokemon using Wi-Fi battles. You know what I mean? That's my post game.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. Of course, the game has to give you the methods to do that. Because if you're talking about maybe BDSP or something like that,
Oof, don't even get me started. Well, maybe we'll talk about that in a minute.
then it's different, because then the
Yes,
grind
exactly.
becomes a little bit too harsh.
Yeah, I agree. So, real quick before we move on to Gen 8, what was your thoughts on Z moves?
I like them. I like the unpredictability of that. There were some times where I got screwed by the Z move, but some other times when I actually won a game because I pulled the trigger in the right turn. So it was cool because it was just a one turn move. But at the same time, if you use it well, you can have a lot of advantage during the game. You can get an unexpected kill, or maybe even a boost. So I like them. Of course, uh, you can you couldn't be prepared to every single Z move, but at the same time, it added a little bit of fun during the match. So I liked it. Yeah.
All right, awesome. So, we get through Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon, and then I believe around 2019 we learn about Sword and Shield. What was your reaction to Sword and Shield, particularly after we learned that there wasn't going to be all the Pokemon?
Yeah. By the way, a little step back.
Oh, yep.
Gen 7 is when I heard about when I started learning about
Oh, is
Draft
this
League.
when you got into draft? Okay, I was gonna get that to that later, but yeah, the Gen 7 I remember was a lot of people started getting into draft.
Yeah, I learned about what Draft League was. So maybe because of Pokémon, I remember watching my first Draft League. It was like a strange, crazy multi-battle Draft League where Pokémon was
Yes, I
at that
remember
time
that.
it was with Envy. But besides that, I mean, I remember those teams playing together with this drafted mon, and I was saying, damn, that is fire. What is this? I loved it so much, but I didn't know how to get into it. I thought just like Brandon, I thought that it was just a YouTuber things.
Yep.
So I'm never gonna do that. I'm just gonna watch him. And after that, I watched a lot of draft leagues just from Pokemon MFD and from his friends too. So I was watching every single draft league games, but actually I didn't get to play a draft league until some months ago. And it was crazy because I didn't know about Discord. I didn't know what Discord was, so I was out of everything. But I was watching it a lot, hoping that some days I could get in.
Ah, okay. So we still gotta wait for your first draft league, but this around this time you at least heard about it and were at least watching the content, so you know what it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, there we go.
And to go back to your question about Gen 8, of course, I was a little bit. I felt betrayed by Pokemon because they promised to us, high
Catch them all.
content, high quality animations, and then they gave us Sword and Shield, and they removed a lot of Pokemons just to give us some of those back with DLCs. So I felt a little bit betrayed, but yeah, the gaming market is going that way, I guess. So uh, it is what it is. The big problem of Gen 8 was the Dynamax.
Yes,
I really
absolutely.
didn't like it, and it may be because it's a gimmick that it can be good just in VGC, and sometimes not even. Sometimes it's broken even in VGC. So in Gen 8, I played a lot of double battles because um, single was screwed by Dynamax. And even the
Yes.
Gen 8 OU in Showdown, of course, there wasn't Dynamax there. I didn't like it a lot as a meta game. So actually, I played some VGC in Gen 8 and I left the single scene basically because the 20-minute timer, though, it was very hard to accomplish an actual game with that.
Yep, those were some hard days.
Yeah, yeah. And the problem it was because it was very easy to build a team in Gen 8. The quality of life of life improved a lot. I believe that was the first gen where we got the mints.
We got the mints,
So
yes.
yeah,
And it was a lot
getting
easier to
level
get the
up.
bottle caps too.
Yeah, exactly. So it was very easy to get those, competitive Pokemon, but at the same time, I didn't get to use them as I wanted. So it was frustrating, and I hate those days. I hate Gen 8 days. I'm sorry for Gen 8 fans, but I didn't like it.
Yeah, it was a tough time. I mean, I only enjoyed it, I think, probably because that was whenever I started doing YouTube and I started uploading Wi-Fi battles. That was probably the only thing getting me through it. And that was whenever I was right around the Crown Tundra when I discovered the Battle Hub server. So I was able to get some quality Wi-Fi battles rather than having my opponents Dynamax on me every time. But when they Dynamax on me, it was like a challenge. It was like I had to win anyways, regardless of them Dynamaxing on me. Those pesky
Yeah,
randos.
but I mean sometimes it just ended on timer, right?
Sometimes, yes, it did, but that's why I basically had to make my teams as hyper offensive as possible and try
Yeah,
to finish the game as quickly as possible.
yeah,
Which a
I
lot of
get that.
times I did, but it was always a struggle. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All
I
right,
feel
so
you.
we
I
get
feel
through
you.
Gen 8. So I'm assuming then so you said you got into VGC actually. That's interesting. So, and were you playing that on the console or were you still playing like singles on Showdown or
I'm playing VGC in the console, so Battle Spot Stadium.
Okay, there we go.
Um, on Showdown, I'm playing some Gen 8 in singles, but not OU. Mainly, I remember playing something like UU or
Ah,
NU,
yeah.
something like that.
I love the lower tiers in Gen 8 personally. I was doing a lot of because I wanted to have the lower tier Pokemon show them off because I bred them all, so I wanted to use them. So yeah, lower tiers were always pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And with the power creep, that Gen 8 really started the power creep. So Gen 8 is where you started seeing some actual good mounts, even in lower tiers, because they couldn't keep up with OU. So uh, Gen 8 was good in that sense. OU, maybe I didn't like it, but I liked the lower tiers a little bit more than before.
Yeah, I think there was a saying. It was like Gen 8 UU is Generation 6 OU without the
Yeah, yeah.
megas. Yep.
Yeah, you can say that. You can say that, absolutely.
All right, so we
And
get through Generation 8. And
yeah.
of course, it seems like you're still in competitive Pokemon, so you're getting more experience, you're training.
Mm.
Then we get to I'm not going to skip it this time. We get to BDSP. Did you play BDSP? What was your experience with that game?
Yeah, I played BDSP. Of course, I never played actual Gem 4 before, so I didn't have the comparison with the original games. I actually liked the BDSP experience in terms of you know the actual game
Yeah.
until the Elite Four battle and everything. But it was really frustrating because I every time I go on Showdown and I play BDSP or OU, it's so fun. I love that tier so much. Then I talk to myself, damn, I want to do a Wi-Fi team too. And then you have to spend like weeks to do that.
Yeah,
It's crazy
I'm saying.
because I remember like Scorpion said it. I was using the Pocky MMD code. It was like 2022, 2021. You have to digit that, and you can find on Wi-Fi some BDSP OU battles.
Yep.
Some of them was very fun to do. I even recorded it a little bit, but the problem is that I just used one team every time that I thought to myself, I want to change. I want to play another team. Yeah, but the grind to build that team in BDSP was crazy,
I'm saying,
crazy, crazy,
dude.
crazy.
I could only get like one box, like basically 30 Pokemon, battle ready, and it was only like the top OU Pokemon. So when Pokemon was asking for like a fun battle, I was like, well, I don't really have any fun Pokemon though. I only have the standard
Yeah,
because that's all that I could breed.
yeah, and still a great accomplishment to have a full box
Yeah, I just
of
ran. The
great
biggest
Pokemon.
problem was just running out of TMs.
Yeah, true. And I remember also Pokemon like I wanted the like rough skin Garchomp. You have to give him an ability patch to do that. And to get an ability patch, it was like
Oh my
insane.
goodness.
You had to fight through the battle towers again and again and again. And I actually did, but it was frustrating.
Yeah, that's where I used the help of the Battle Hub server to just be able to. I would just get eggs of like Pokemon that had their hidden abilities. That helped out a lot with that.
I feel it. I feel it. And it was frustrating because I repeat, I liked BDSPOU metagame a lot. It was refreshing. It was fun. I loved it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's
And
just a shame that it's the way that it was.
yeah, and we get to the game that I skipped, which is Legend Arceus. Completely skipped that, and
You weren't missing too
basically,
much.
yeah. I mean, I know that it's fun. I know that everyone is, praising that game, and I'm absolutely 100% sure that it's a very good game. But if it doesn't have the competitive, I really
Exactly.
am not into it.
That's what I'm saying. I had a lot of my friends that don't usually play Pokemon. They love that game because,
Yeah,
no offense to them, they're casual players. It's a game meant for the casuals. There's no competitive scene. I literally
absolutely.
stopped playing it like halfway through, and the only reason I went back and finished it was to get Enamorous and to get all the Pokemon to be able to transfer in Pokemon Home. You know what I mean? For Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, and it actually bites me back when I needed the Izuian Pokemon or something like that. So I probably will have to buy Legend ZA, even if probably there won't be competitive there. I don't know, but still, if you give me a Pokemon game and you don't give me competitive, basically it's like a spin-off game or it's like something else.
Exactly. Yes. I feel the same way.
It's like Mystery Dungeon. I don't know. I still like it. I can still like it, but it's not exactly what I want, what I need from a Pokemon game.
Yeah, the way I looked at it, it was an investment in future competitive Pokemon games. Where it's like, okay, I'm gonna get this just to get the Pokemon that's in the game.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
So we get through Legends Arceus, and then finally we hear about Generation 9, Scarlet and Violet. What was your reaction to seeing it was gonna be open world game, and eventually once we figured out about the Terra mechanic?
First of all, I love the Terra. I think that it's 10 times better than the Dynamax and a very democratic and fun gimmick. So I really like it.
Yep.
Probably aesthetically it's not as good, but who cares? I mean, competitively it's very funny and playable. Also, it gives viability to weaker mons, and I like it
Yes.
a lot. Um, in terms of the game itself, I like Gen 9. I mean, the only problem with Gen 9 is probably the graphics. Yeah, it's very bad, but who cares? I personally I don't care. And maybe the plot isn't that deep, but still, who cares? I mean, it's not what I search in Pokemon once
That's
again.
not what we're here
So
for, you know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. So the open world thing was very good because it keeps playability to the game. I still wander around sometimes with my Coridon. I'm flying through the region just to fly through the region and to get
Yeah,
those
it's so fun to
shiny
fly. I
items.
feel like that's such an underrated thing that nobody talks about, like the fact that we could just fly around and go anywhere.
Yeah, yeah, it's very funny. So I liked the game a lot. Um, I had Pokemon Scarlet. I have Pokemon Scarlet, and that's when I finally started learning about what Discord was, and I started getting into those servers. I was searching for some draft league servers, but just some servers first, just some servers to find some battles, and so I finally get some cool Wi-Fi battles. I started, my channel in Gen 9, so I appreciate the generation a lot for those reasons.
Okay, there we go. Dang, so you were looking for servers with Wi-Fi battles, but you hadn't stumbled upon the Battle Hub server.
Yeah. Actually, you know, one of my server, it's still the Pokemon Battle, and probably I even fought some of you back then. I don't know,
Oh, you
probably.
did. Oh, you just never found the draft league.
Yeah,
You didn't. You
yeah,
must have
because
missed the link.
yeah, because I still wasn't good enough with Discord with how it worked. So probably I was just searching and finding some battles. And actually, even if I was inside the Battle of server, I learned and I entered into Battle of Draft League through Reddit. Through Reddit. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
it
know
was like,
the. I know the. I remember when I wanted to get to that when Beardo told me he's like, "Hey guys, I made a Reddit post announcement for the draft league." And I was like, "Oh snap, we're on Reddit now. That's awesome." And then I was like,
yeah.
"Well, I guess we'll see what we get." And he's like, "Oh yeah, this guy he came through the Reddit post." And I'm like, "Really?" So you were
Yeah, yeah.
looking on, you were just Googling Reddit for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet draft leagues?
Yeah, actually, there's a subreddit
Nice.
called Draft Leagues, where
Yep.
people like asks advices or something like that, but no one like gives you link to Draft League. So I found that and I thinking to myself, maybe I could like it. So I clicked that and I finally started, my first Wi-Fi Draft League, which was the BHDL. Actually, some months earlier, I through a Discord server, I actually had my first ever draft league, which was a Showdown league, which is
Yep.
way different. Showdown
Yeah.
and Wi-Fi leagues are way different.
Yeah. I agree. Just because it's like, I don't know if it's there's not as much like the community aspect of it, or just like, well, of course, you're working on the showdown graphics instead of the end game. But was there any other things that made it feel different for you?
Yeah, of course, the timer too.
Oh,
On
right.
Wi-Fi, you have
Yeah.
you have like some, yeah, you have just a little bit of time to think about everything, and Showdown gives you every single information, so you don't have to write it up. I
Oh,
learned
that's a
this
great
year.
point. You got the
Yeah.
replay right there and easy.
Yeah, you can see the percentage that you did.
Yeah.
You can see the previous turns. You can see everything. But now in Wi-Fi, I have to use paper and pen, and I am,
Yes. Absolutely.
writing
You
every
always see
single
me
bar.
taking notes.
Yeah, of course I prefer Wi-Fi leagues a lot, but it was uh, it was very hard the first few games because uh, it's a big difference for sure.
Yeah. So yeah. So just to confirm, BHDL then was your first Wi-Fi league.
Yeah, absolutely,
Oh,
yes. And
incredible.
it was my third league overall and first Wi-Fi league overall.
Very nice, very nice. So just kind of go through me your run. Well, let's go back over your team real quick first, because you were the first overall pick in the league. How did you
Yeah,
react when you saw that?
bro. I remember that day I was so happy because in the same day you made the coach reveals and the draft lottery. So I was there watching the video. Then will I be part of BHDL? I don't know because I was watching, the coaches. The first like 10 coaches are were just old coaches that came back for season 5.
Yep.
So I was thinking, yeah, I'm a new coach. They will never pick me, of course. But then like I was the 15th coach to be picked, and I was so happy just to be in. And like 1 minute later, you go with the draft lottery, and I'm number one. So that really, I was up in the sky with happiness.
There we
I was
go.
very happy because in this Uber's league in particularly, probably the number one pick was very big to have, and that's when I think, I wanna have a platinum legendary. The
Yep.
in the
Oh,
season
your
was
Gen
between
3
Groudon.
nostalgia is really coming through here with your first pick now that I think about it.
Yeah, the doubt was actually between Groudon and Mewtwo. Mewtwo has so much coverage, which is crucial in draft. But Groudon uh, gives a way to build a team. Uh, I have Sun, I have Stealth Rock, so I have strong, powerful, legendary. So if with Groudon, I can also use him as support to make some other Pokemon shine, and that's exactly what I was trying to do in this season.
There you go. You constructed quite the team here, sir. You got the second pick, Walking Wake, an absolute monster in the sun. Yeah, I think you chipped up a lot of people with with this Scizor pick at number 3. But I get it is always important to get. I mean, you got your the beginning of a Dragon Fairy Steel Core here. Uh, I think some people might have just been thrown off by the Scizor being on a Sun team, but at least you've
Yeah,
got. Yeah, I mean, Walking Wake 4 times resist fire, so it got a good switch into it.
yeah.
And then Sarah Ledge is immune to it. But I think the real star of the show here, which surprised everybody, including me, is this Terra Lilligant that you put on. Can you give me the kind of what you were thinking when you were thinking about Terra, Hisui, and Lilligant?
Yeah, a lot of people, I remember even Beardle actually gave me some advices. He was talking to me like, bro, use Walking Wake Terra. That thing is crazy. Use that. And yeah, we saw some of the calcs. That thing is absolutely crazy in Sun. But I thought that maybe Walking Wake can be strong too, even without Terra, if I use it well. While Lilligant, Terra Lilligant with Victory Dance, if we have Terra, it's basically free Terra. Okay, Terra preview, but I can use every single Terra type that I want.
Yep,
I
helps you a
mean,
lot in building.
this can be very very strong because I can add coverage to it with the Terra, and of course I have the double speed with Chlorophyll, so I can be very dangerous with it, and I had a lot of fun. I remember that week 4 against Pokemaster when I wrote Terra Grass Choice Mentor Blade. It was it was very funny.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Actually, this sorry, the start of the league was difficult. I remember losing the first game against Roder.
Yep.
It was a snow versus sun game. Uh, he was able to kill my Groudon prior when his Nighthawk was still alive, so he won the Weather War. And from then on, he swept me with the Titan. And there is when I'm thinking, maybe this level is too much, is too high for me. Probably I'm gonna go 0 and 9, but still I'm gonna try my best. And that's when I fought you in week 2. It was a very crazy game. I played it very well, but of course you weren't 100%. We have to say it.
Hey, that that turn 1 solar beam, that was crazy. I should have known. Like I said, I wasn't 100%, but still, I could tell the way you were playing. I was like, man, this guy, we got to watch out for this guy the rest of the season. I was
Yeah, yeah,
thinking,
we had to
okay, I
understand
don't think
that.
this guy showed his full power in week 1.
Yeah, yeah, because I traded for Alolan Mac, and then finally my team, uh, you know, my team finally was perfect with that Alolan Mac. So, of course, it was perfect against your Mewtwo.
Yeah,
And
because
actually,
I was planning, I was like, okay, week 2, I can finally get to use Expanding Force. And then I was looking at the matchup a bit before when I was starting to build, I was like, wait a minute, they have a Dark type now.
yeah,
That's not gonna work. But yeah, man, I mean, from there, you went on a bit of a win streak here. I think your only other loss was to the champion, Scorpion.
yeah, yeah. I had some very close battles, like the one against Al, in which I was very lucky. Even the week 8 against Cody was very close. I had a lot of fun because it was a very great season. Scorpion, you know, prepped me very harsh. He played Will-O-Wisp Lunala against my Alolan Mac, and because I was thinking, man, Scorpion has a strong team, of course,
Yep.
but Lunala, I don't even have to care about it. I have Alolan Mac. What can Lunala do to Alolan Mac?
I
Well,
know, right?
he can burn me. And after he burned me, he used a defensive Rocky Helmet Meteor to chip down my Alolan Mach, and from them on, once that Mach was weakened, Lunala did what Lunala did all season. So he got like 3 kills and something like that. So in the end, he outplayed me, and he played very very well in that game. And after that, I was able to reach a very great unexpected record, 7-2. I was really I surprised myself with that record, but as good as it was, the differential probably hit me a little bit because I was like 1 point differential less than you, I believe.
Yep,
It's
that's
like
right.
plus 10, where you was plus 11, something like that.
Yep.
And immediately when I reached the fourth seed, me and Raymond were chatting like, we're gonna face each other, right? Yeah, yeah. We both knew that it was gonna to be me against Raymond because
Yeah,
nobody
I
was
sure as
picking
heck
Raymond.
wasn't picking Raymond. I'll tell you that. I don't know if you've seen in the previous seasons, but he eliminated me in every single playoff in first 3 seasons.
Yeah, so imagine me as a rookie, great season, 7-2 record. Wow, great. And my reward is Raymond turn one.
Yeah.
But still, that was a banger. I love that game. Sometimes
That
I
was
even
such an
rewatched it.
awesome game to watch. I mean, you
Yeah,
brought it right down to the wire. I mean, just having it just be a 1-0 versus Raymond. I mean, my hats off to you, my friend, especially with this being your first Wi-Fi league.
yeah, it was a very crazy game. He won 1-0 with his last Pokemon having 1 HP because his last two Pokemon, they have both Sash.
Yep. I
That
think he
was
got
it was
inspired to
something.
use Focus Sash from my Sandy Shocks using Focus Sash in a different league.
Oh, okay. I mean,
He's like, you know what?
it,
Let me try this out.
yeah, and he was very good at keeping rocks away because, of course, with rocks that did not work. And in the end, probably the better player won. So I recognize it. Raymond is so good. So I was just happy to be able to fight against him in what seems to be his last season. I played every retiring coach except for Biradu. I'm, mm, you know,
Oh yeah, you
I'm
never
sorry
got
for
to
that.
face Spiritu.
Yeah, I'm sorry for that, but at the same time, imagine Rory Moon and Terror Raging Bolt and Ho in Sun. Maybe it's better that
Oof,
I
yeah,
didn't play him.
maybe it's best for the best that you
Maybe.
shouldn't play that. You just give him
Yeah.
a super goober boost. Yeah,
Yeah,
when I
yeah,
was
yeah.
planning to play Biridu, I initially thought that his strat versus me was gonna be to use the sun against me.
Mm,
Instead, it was a choice banded Ho-Oh.
yeah.
All right, there we go.
That was an
So,
amazing game too.
oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. So, just tell me about the impact that you think that the BHDL has had on you and on others, the community that's been built around it. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I love the community. First of all, all of you, immediately welcomed me, uh, like in a very warm and kind manner. I mean, I was very, happy to find an environment like this. Uh, of course, still am in a lot of server, and no one is like the VHDL. Like no one. Of course, some server, are more respectful than others, of course, but no one is so active and at the same time so welcoming and warming like BHDL is. So I really love this side of the community. Uh, it was very impactful for me because it was my first Wi-Fi draft league, so I was very excited. Uh, every single time before every game, I was very anxious, and of course, since I upload my games too, every time I play and I record, I am very excited to upload the game too and to see what other people think about how I played. And everyone, even if I don't ask, all of all of you give me feedbacks, and it's crazy because it's not like that in other leagues. You know, you don't get those feedbacks unless you ask, of course. So I really, really like this part of the community, and I hope that it stays as it is. And uh, that's when I said that to Scorpion too. Like, I'm sorry that you retire. Same thing goes for you, for Raymond, and for Beardo. But at the same time, as long as you still are there, I'm happy. You know, no problem. You can retire, you can go back to play every time you want, but at least stay there with us because we need you. And
Oh, I'm not going
so,
anywhere. Trust me. I'm looking forward to still doing like power rankings and like discussing like the matches each week for sure because I want to keep it going, you know what I mean? So it's just for
it will
me
be fun.
right now, it's just I'm very burnt out from all these draft leagues. But at least as a
Yeah.
spectator, like that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, imagine a draft league when imagine Swift and sorry, Switch and Pokemon implementing spectate mode. It will be fun.
Hey, well, that's what I'm thinking with the Switch 2 with this whole game chat thing. It could be a whole new thing. I don't know if
Hmm.
you've seen that. We could just hop on and then just have our cameras on and be watching the games. Have four
Yeah,
people watching one side and four people watching the other side.
yeah, yeah. That will be cool. That will be very cool.
Yep. All right, so have you told any other people IRL about this league? Have or any of your friends that maybe still play Pokemon about the league, or what do they think about you being in the league and making it all the way to the playoffs in your first run?
I told just to my wife, of course, that I you know show them all my excitement, and he can tell if I won my game or if I lost just just on how she sees me. In terms of other friends, I have one friend that I got into competitive, but eventually he left Pokemon in Gen 9. He bought Pokemon Violet, but eventually he stopped playing.
Yeah.
So sometimes he still watches some of my videos. So I told him about that. And yeah, he was proud of me. But besides that, yeah, I didn't tell like, you know, uh, to anyone who doesn't care about Pokemon. I didn't tell that. But of course, if you care about Pokemon, if you care about competitive, I'm gonna talk to you about it, and I'm gonna, maybe even show you my video. Like,
Yeah.
not only a small percentage of my friend knows about my YouTube channel, but I think that it's better. Mm, it's better like this. I mean, I don't want to spread it to anyone. Like, uh, if you want to know something more about me, you can ask, but I'm not gonna say like everything to anyone. Only to the people that I trust the most.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think the coolest thing was that, of course, you live in Italy, so you have a whole different audience. So introducing that audience, like you had said before, to the concept of draft leagues, I just think is a great thing. Like it's like what's it called? Not the butterfly effect, but like the 7 degrees of separation. Like just continuing to like spread it out and have more people get shown it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
spreading
in
out that
Italy there's
influence.
yeah in Italy there's a big competitive Pokemon community, but as I said before, they all play VGC. Actually, I believe that
Really?
right now the reigning VGC world champion is an Italian guy. So we are very strong, as Italian players are very strong in VGC, but no one plays singles, like really a small percentage, and nobody knows about draft tricks. I don't know, nobody plays them, but there is not a YouTube channel in Italy that talks about draft league or plays them. So I am the first. I think that I
Man,
am the
you're
first
you're
because
filling in that niche in the market, my friend. Have you gotten any like comments from any of your viewers that are like, "Oh wow, this is cool. Like this is Draft League," or any people that would be like interested in playing Draft Leagues?
I got some of those comments like, "Wow, what is this? I never seen playing Pokemon like this." But
Hey, look at that. We're
still,
continuing to spread the influence. That's all. We
yeah,
all we
but
only need a few people.
Right now, the water are still, like getting a little bit warmer, but still
Hey,
a
you're
lot of
planting
work to do.
seeds over there, my friend. You're doing great work.
Yeah, maybe maybe one time, maybe in the future, I will
Yep.
be the one that started Draft League in Italy. Who knows?
Hey, there we go. Speaking of the future, where do you see the future of draft and competitive Pokemon going? Now that we know about Pokemon champions and the potential for things like Terra Pokemon fighting a Mega Pokemon, and even maybe having Z moves in the national decks and things like that.
What I want from Pokemon Champions is it to be the closest thing to an official Pokemon Showdown. Uh, it will be very, very fire. I know that it won't be like that, but if it's close to that, I'm all for it. And actually, I already played a draft league in which there were both Terras and Megas and Z moves in Showdown.
Oh yeah, how did that
It
go?
was it was a national Dex draft league.
Yep.
Um, I did well. I went 7-1, but actually I get out in the quarterfinals.
Oh
The
no.
quarterfinals. But it was cool to play Terra and Megas together. So I think that it will be very interesting. So I'm all for it. I mean, as long as there's no Dynamax, I'm all.
Even if there
You
is,
can
we'll just
throw
ban it.
every
You know what I
single
mean?
gimmick.
We'll just ban it.
Yeah, you can throw every single gimmick in it, like Terra, Z moves, Megas, no problem. As long as there are no Dynamax, I am happy.
Yep. 100% agree. All right, my friend. Are there any other closing thoughts that you have? Any other things that you felt we missed on?
I am so excited to see how it's going to change the environment in season 6. I'm talking about the coaches because some of the top strong coaches, the two finalists retired. Probably even third and fourth place are retiring too. So how will it be? I really don't know, and I am very excited to discover it.
We got
So
plenty
it
of
will be a
folks ready
very
to
great season.
step up, so I don't think we'll have any shortage of coaches. It'll be very exciting to see, and I know that Scorpion and I for sure. Yeah, I bet even Beardo will be hanging out watching still, and we'll still be involved in making sure everything runs smoothly. But yeah, I'm excited to see the next generation, even though it's only been like a year or two. But you know what I mean. The next
Yeah,
batch of coaches to come up and meet the challenge.
we will finally have a new champion.
Absolutely,
Who will it
absolutely.
be?
Yep.
I
Well,
really don't
we'll
know.
we'll see if Anastasia comes back. I don't know if you ever saw.
Yeah,
She was the season 3 champion, so I don't know if she
yeah.
will
Me
come
too.
out of retirement herself and come back and try to get the title again. But yeah, would love to see a new champion.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
All right, with
Yeah,
that, folks, this was an awesome interview, Kingbura. Thank you for joining me, and be sure to check out Kingbura's channel. I will leave it in the description.
thank you for having me, and thank you for the work that you're doing right now with these interviews. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you, my friend. All right, we will see you guys in the next one. Bye.